Hello, my name is Juan Ramirez. I am a product designer in the runner and testing teams. And what going to be showing today, it's a quick start guide or like a demo on how to create a small project with a CI configuration. And the goal of this is that anyone that is new to GitLab as an employee or someone who's completely new to GitLab as a platform can get idea on how you can set up CI for basically anything, which is one of the greatest things about the GitLab platform. And another reason, another goal for this is that many people sometimes find themselves trying to create small projects just to test out things. So this should probably help the people as well whenever they want to test things. So this is going to be pretty simple. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be using a sample project, a test project with nothing inside the project, and then we're going to find something to put inside this project. What we're going to put inside this is a static site because it's the simplest, fastest way to show something. And additionally, we're also going to set up a review app so we can see what the static site looks like every time that you build the project through the GitLab CI. So with that being said, let's just jump into the task at hand. This is gonna be very simple. So I'm gonna start by creating a project, but I already created that project. So it's just a sample project, nothing fancy here. I called it Quick Tester 2, and we're gonna need that project because this is the project that we're gonna be using to set up our CI and testing and like hosting these static site. All right, so the first thing that you want to do is basically bring up your terminal, and then basically what you want to do, let me just move back to my desktop. You want to create a directory to clone this repo into, right? So I'm gonna create something called test repos, and then I'm gonna cd into that. All right. Okay, so now that I have that, I'm gonna clone this project. So I'm gonna just basically create this template basic project that I created before. I'm just gonna clone these. I'm gonna copy the URL for SSH, and then I'm just gonna do git clone, and I'm gonna paste this here, and this is basically gonna like clone that the project from GitLab into my machine, and now they are both sync my local with my upstream, so we can actually push things to that later. So that's pretty much like the initial setup. Now, as I mentioned at the beginning, the idea here is to just set up a static site. So we're not gonna deal with that. Like we're just gonna basically find something to already host, something that already exists. Like a good place to find things is glitch.com. Glitch.com is a playground where people go and build HTML, CSS, and JS apps. And like you can do, it's very powerful. You can do a lot of things. And one cool thing that it has is that you can like actually clone these projects as Git projects as well. So that's gonna make the process of like moving something that we see here to our GitLab project very easy. So I was looking earlier at this one called Mountain Ridges, which is just like a very basic project that has like a JS file, an HTML file, some style sheets, some stuff going on, and it's kind of a cool project because the app basically like it's doing like some cool things with colors and whatnot. So I thought that was pretty cool. So let's basically use this project. So the way that you copy this project or like you download this project as a Git project, it's basically you gotta sign up first to actually have like use this the way that I'm gonna use it. But once you're signed up, you go into the project that you want to clone, and then like you click here in remix to edit. This is basically gonna clone it on my own project on my profile within Glitch. And now what I'm gonna do is basically I'm gonna find a functionality here that says git import and export. I'm gonna click that, and there's a URL, a Git URL for this. So basically, we want to copy that and we want to clone that as well, right? So I'm gonna go into the terminal. We already have the quick tester clone there, so I'm gonna clone this one too. Git clone, and I'm gonna clone that guy. And that's cloned already. So now we have the two projects, the project in GitLab and the project that I just got from Glitch that we're gonna move into GitLab and that we're gonna use to build our review app. So the next step will be basically to move those files from one to another. So I'm gonna open the folder, and then basically I have quick tester here. I have something called Stomp Puppy Seed, which has the project that I just cloned. I'm gonna create a folder here called source, and then I'm gonna move these guys into quick tester, and then I'm gonna move everything except the license and the readme to the source. So these three guys move here. Okay, so I have source going on there. This looks good. So now the next step will be going into that folder. So I'm gonna go into quick tester, and then basically, because I move all those files, I want to commit that and I want to push that to GitLab. So the way to do that will be just by doing git add, and then I'm gonna do git commit message, and then I'm gonna say like quick init. I'm gonna commit that, and then I'm gonna git push this to my origin, which is gonna like push it to my remote. So I did that, and now if I go back to my GitLab project, I should have all those files there. And here's the last commit, quick init. That looks pretty good. All right, so now we have this thing going on here, right? When you see it when you preview it in Glitch, basically this is loading a static app, like it's serving a static app. What we want to accomplish with GitLab is that whenever you push or make changes in that project, it builds something similar to this, so you can see the changes that you're making to the app, right? So for that, we're gonna use the CI/CD, the built-in CI/CD of GitLab. And this is gonna be very simple. I'm gonna be using some code that I already have for this that I made before, but I'm gonna kind of explain that in a little bit. But what you want to do is basically click here on Setup CI/CD. That's gonna prompt you to create a GitLab CI YAML file, and we actually want to apply that template from the beginning. So Node will be the appropriate template for this, because basically this has like some JavaScript things that we need to do, like the process that I'm going to explain in a bit. So you want a Node environment to do that, right? So the way to do that is by providing an image and telling what image you wanna clone for this environment. So we wanna do the Node image, the latest one. This thing, you don't need to worry about this. You can delete this. As a matter of fact, you don't need this either. Wait, cancel, because we're gonna be writing our own GitLab CI YAML file. So like the only relevant thing until this point is the image Node latest. We will definitely want to do that. Okay, we definitely want to do that, and we definitely want to base anything that we're gonna do after this on top of this Node image. All right, so that being said, like the next step will be actually setting up what's gonna happen here, right? So there's a couple of things that you want to define in this file. So one thing is the stages. So I'm just gonna use one stage here, and I'm gonna call it review. This is just a demo that we're creating that needs a review up, so that should be enough. One interesting thing about GitLab CI is that GitLab CI usually works with a lot of variables that are happening, that are coming from like the environment variables that you're storing in your project, or like that are coming from other places. And those places sometimes are the file itself. So like for the sake of what we're gonna do here, I wanna define a variable here that it's called repo name. Repo name, it's just kind of like something that I'm using as a placeholder to the configuration that I'm gonna do in a little bit. You don't need to care too much about this, because what I'm gonna copy and paste in a bit is just like boilerplate code, and I'm gonna explain it, but you don't need to worry too much about it. So the first piece of code that I'm gonna copy and paste is the first configuration for a job. So the first job that we wanna set up for this, it's a job called start review. And start review has some things going on here. So basically it's a job that it's gonna run under the review stage, and it's gonna execute these commands that are like node commands. So that's why we are working on top of a node image. You don't need to worry about this stuff. Basically, like what we're doing here is we're using a platform called Site. And Site is it's a static hosting platform that allows you to like push websites like the ones that we are kind of like want to host, or like the one that we have here basically. So we're gonna use that to host our review apps. And you don't need to worry about this. This is just boilerplate configuration. I'm gonna add a snippet with all these scripts, but basically what's going on here is like we're installing the node toolbar, which is required to like configure like the URLs that we're gonna be pushing to, and like setting up things inside. And that's why we set up this repo name, because we will need it for like setting up the environment here, and like we setting up like this alias here. So like we needed the variable, and there's other variables that are actually coming from the runner itself. So like this one is coming from the runner. You don't need to worry about that. Those are things like that are referenced here, but like are coming from the runner itself, like they're already predefined by the runner. And there's this now token, which is something that we need to create ourselves inside, and we also need to store this in our GitLab CI YAML file. So okay, now that I have that, I'm also gonna copy and paste another stage that I have already set up here, which is the stop review. Stop review is gonna be another job, which is a manual job that it's gonna stop the review app. Whenever like we review something, we wanna run this job to stop the like that review app, like basically destroy it, so it's not consuming resources. And these two things are kind of like basically tethered to each other through like this stop review. So like basically to stop this environment, we're gonna call this onStop, which is gonna call this job, and it's gonna execute these things that basically destroy that review site. So we have those two things going on here. That basically it's already a full valid GitLab CI configuration. I don't think there's anything else that we need to define except the now token. The now token, there's two ways in which we can define that. We could actually write here like now token, and then like go and create the token inside and copy and paste that here. But that's not recommended. Like usually this will be like a security leak. We will be showing credentials in a place where they shouldn't be shown. So we're not gonna use that. We're actually gonna use the built-in variable functionality of the CI, which allows you to set up sensitive data and credentials and don't leak them here in the GitLab CI YAML file. So I'm gonna explain that in a bit. But the first thing that we need to do is create a token so we can actually set up that. So to do that, I'm just gonna go to Site. You will need to create an account in Site as well. But once you have your account inside, you can go to Settings, Tokens, and then Create. And then you're gonna create a token that's called Testing1, or whatever you wanna call it. And now we have this token, and like you gotta copy and paste this, and like once you close this, you're not gonna see this ever again. So make sure that you like complete all the steps before closing this. And I was talking about setting those environment variables in a secure way. So the way to do that is basically going to settings. Oh, I'm gonna commit these changes first. Okay, commit. And then you're gonna go to settings, and you're gonna go to CI/CD settings. And in CI/CD settings, there are variables here. This is the section that you wanna use. You wanna expand these, and then actually we already have one set up here. I did this earlier, but basically what you wanna do is like basically now token, and then you wanna basically copy and paste the value there, and you wanna save the variables, and that's pretty much it. So now, whenever we're running our CI, and you go to the GitLab CI YAML file, the GitLab CI YAML file is gonna get this now token from that variable storage, secret storage that we have on the other side, and then you're not leaking sensitive information from the file. You can still define variables here in the file, and that's okay, but only do it when it's things like the one that I set up here, which is not very crucial. Like it's not very critical in terms of information. It's just like a basic piece of information. This is interesting. It says that this configuration is invalid. All right, so let's fix it. There's something that's invalid. We will see what it is. So you edit these. Usually when you copy and paste these things, there's small errors like in the kind of like white spaces and stuff that like make things don't work that well. Repo name. This is valid. This is valid. Variables. This is valid. I think I know what's going on. I think this is gonna work out. Oh, never mind. They even tell me the error here. I wasn't even reading well. So the error is very basic. I was like not using the right stage because I copy and pasted. This was coming from another configuration that I have here, and in that one the stage is test. And what we want to do is review. So we just commit those changes, and now it's valid. So that's good. Now that it's valid, now what I want to do is that it's actually test that this actually works, right? So the way that this is set up is this is gonna work in any branch that is not master. So the easiest way to do that is just to create an NMR. So we're just gonna go here and we're gonna go to source, and then I'm gonna open index.html file, and then I'm gonna go to web ID, and I'm just gonna actually delete a couple of emojis here. So this should work, and then I'm gonna commit this, and then I'm gonna create a new branch. This is gonna be called delete emojis, and then I'm gonna station commit, and then I'm gonna submit this merge request, which is gonna definitely run the pipeline. Now the question is it gonna work or not? Hopefully it's gonna work because we copy and pasted the configuration. So what should happen at this point is this is gonna run the pipeline. This is gonna execute all those steps that we had there, which is basically talking to now like the kind of like the service provided by site, and then it's gonna like do all these transactions, and then it's gonna upload the website into their platform, and then it's gonna serve it through a URL that is gonna be displayed here in a minute. So we can actually check that here if you go to pipelines. This one is running. We go to start review, and it seems that it's running, like it's doing its thing there. It's deploying the app, it's working, and it says that it's finalized, it's ready for deployment. I think it's already fully deployed. It says that the job succeeded. Okay, so that's good news. Now if we go to the merge request that we just created, we should have in these delete emojis a review app. And there you go, we have a review app. So if everything went well, what's gonna happen is that if I click view app here, it's gonna open an app that looks exactly the same as this one, with a brief, very minimal difference is that I deleted some of these mountain emojis. So it should work exactly the same, with the difference that there's gonna be like 3 or 4 less emojis. So let's see if that actually works. So view up, and there you go, it works. So it's the exact same app now. It's not being served through Glitch, it's being served through my own instance of now site. That's why I set up the token and all the stuff that you saw. And as you saw, here's my change. There are like the less mountain emojis going on than in the one that we actually cloned from Glitch. So that's pretty much it. That wasn't that long, and I basically show you how to set up GitLab CI from scratch for a static site. But there's so many more things that you can do with this. You can go ahead and basically play with your pipeline. You can like start kind of like brainstorming what other stages you can add to these. There's many things that you can do to experiment in terms of testing and security for whatever you're trying to do with GitLab, either because you are like trying to learn it in terms of the work that you're doing at GitLab, or if you are a contributor or a community contributor who's trying to understand how this works. This should be helpful, and I hope that it was clear. But if it wasn't clear, I'm gonna put also my email address in the description of the video, so you can reach out to me if you have any questions. Thanks for watching. Bye.